So why does your body love to store body fat? Now you might be saying, I wish it didn't love to store body fat, JD, because this stuff is annoying. I don't want it on me. Well, your body doesn't look at body fat the way that we in our time have started to look at body fat. Your body looks at the fat on it and inside of it as a tool for survival. And for how many ever years, we can get into a debate about, how long we've been around and here on this planet and blah, blah, blah. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how long it's been since we've had things like refrigerators, preservatives, McDonald's and fast food and supermarkets and Uber Eats and the access to food that we have today. It's for a very short period of time. We haven't had this for much of our existence here on this planet. So our biggest problem today, almost, I would say, is that we eat too much. It's too easy to access food, where that is not the biggest problem that we've had in our history. The biggest problem we've had in our history is not enough food. So your genetics, your survival mechanisms, because your body is only geared towards surviving. Everything it does is geared towards surviving. Now today, we don't have as much of the threat of survival in a modern society. So especially with all the food that we have, your body's in overload. I like to say your body is like a cactus in a rainforest. Cactus is designed for a desert, but it's in a rainforest. If you put it into a rainforest, it's gonna swell up with too much water and die. It's built for scarcity, and we as human beings are built for scarcity. Our metabolism is, and that's where body fat comes into play. Body fat is one of those tools that our body uses to survive. When we didn't have the ability to go around the corner and pop over to a Starbucks and pop over to McDonald's and pop over to the supermarket and pop over to the 7-Eleven, and food is everywhere. Even in stores that don't even really sell food, you walk to the front of or you walk to the cash register to check out, and there's like snacks, right? And you're going, you guys sell soap here, right? Why are you selling, you know what I mean? It's like everywhere. There's snacks, there's food. And so we're bombarded with this 24/7, but your body's looking at this stuff and going, calories are survival because I'm built for starvation. I'm built for tough times, hard times, where you had to put in a lot of effort just to get a little bit of food. You had to follow the herd of buffalo. You had to hunt and gather, and you had to, think about getting honey. Now we have honey farms, and I buy honey, local honey. You can get honey from Australia. You can get all different types of things delivered to your home. Imagine trying to get honey when we didn't have all this technology. You had to climb up a tree and grab and fight with bees, all right, number one, okay, or number two, after you climb the tree, which is dangerous enough, get the honey, okay, without getting stung to death, and then, okay, extract it from that. And how much honey are you getting from that anyways, right? It's not a lifetime supply, and they're not honeycombs on every single tree that you go across. So it was a rare thing for you to come across that. So food was scarce, and we had to put in a lot of effort, and sometimes we didn't have food around, okay? We were walking, you make a left turn and you don't know where you're at because we weren't that smart, and boom, all of a sudden you're walking across a desert and there's no food. So your body learned this trick that said, hey, I don't have preservatives, I don't have food I can't store the food, it's gonna rot. Why don't I just store it right on your person, okay? Beautiful, okay? That way, anywhere I go, doesn't matter what the situation is, I've got energy, and that's what your body uses as fuel. And most of the time, if you're sitting down watching this right now, or if you're walking, or if you're just relaxing, you're burning fat as fuel. Now, you're not burning a ton of calories, you're not burning a ton, especially if you're just hanging out, but the majority of your metabolism is using fat as fuel. And that's what it tends to use for the most part. It also uses other things, but the reserve that you have in regard to fat can last you a long time. What's the longest medically supervised fast? I always ask people this. Longest in a hospital, medically supervised, where someone did not eat, was over 370 days. 370 days. Now that person was obese, they had a lot of fat on their body, but just think about that. They didn't eat for over a year. So fat is fuel for the body. We look at it as this gross thing that we don't want anymore because we want to go to the beach and look good. But it's a survival mechanism. And so when you take that in consideration, when you think, well, I don't want it on me, I want to lose this fat. Okay, what do a lot of people do? They go on these extreme diets, right? They starve themselves, or they go on extreme workout regimens where they're trying to burn as many calories as they can to get fit for the wedding or the vacation or whatever. Then what happens? They do this thing that is not sustainable. So they do this short period of time where they're working their butt off, and then they don't do that anymore. So that short 8-week or 6-week program is done, and then they go back to their normal lifestyle. Well, in that time, your body, who doesn't know that you're trying to get fit for the summer, it thinks that you're starving it. Let's just say if you're not eating that much, it thinks that you are under threat all the time because you're exercising so, vigorously or so often. So what does it do? It will actually slow down your metabolism to offset the amount of calories that you're burning, or offset the amount of calories that you're not consuming. Okay, that you regularly were consuming. Now you offset it to bring it down. Your metabolic rate will slow down, so that next time you eat, you will pack on more pounds to offset this starvation mode. Now, if you have a lot of weight to lose, that set point you'll still lose initially, but what happens is again, if that set point comes down, if your metabolism lowers and you go back to the normal diet that you were on, your body will say, hey, we were here before, we took ourselves down, okay, to this lower limit. We weren't used to that. We thought we were supposed to stay here because this person's been here for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever it might be. Eating all these calories, hanging out, not doing much activity. They go on a diet, or they go in this extreme weight loss program, exercise, or they do both. So everything lowers, starts to lower back down. Well, it says, well, here's normal. We're here. Maybe we lost some weight, but we want to get back to normal as quickly as we can. So you'll gain back the weight, and maybe you even gain back a little bit more. And so many people are familiar with this, right? You go on a weight loss program, you lose the weight, you fall off, or you don't follow through with it, making it a lifestyle, and you gain back weight and more. Why would your body want to gain back weight and more? Because whatever you do repeatedly, it thinks that that's what you're supposed to do. All your body responds to is stimulus and response, okay? And if you're alive and you're surviving, okay, you're doing your job. So that's why we can get away with being overweight and obese. Now, again, it's not healthy, it's not great for the body, but you can survive through that. And now with drugs and all these other things that we can do with your body, we can keep you alive longer and longer. So with your metabolism, with again, this body fat issue, if you want to lose it, we don't want to go extreme, because then the chances of it coming back will be a lot higher, because again, your body thinks that these extreme things that it's doing is you're crossing the desert, all right? Or you're being chased by a pack of wolves, or you're in a fight with a traveling tribe. That's what our genetics are built for. So any opportunity that it can save calories in the form of body fat, it will. Any chance that it can lower its metabolism because of threat going on, it will, because again, it's trying to keep you alive. Your body, your nervous system, your immune system, your metabolic system is all trying to keep you alive. So we look at this thing as body fat as negative, but when you understand it and you go, oh, okay, it's just trying to keep me alive for those dark times, those tough times. And if I do something extreme, my body's not used to it, it's going to react in this way where it starts to slow things down. Your metabolism, when you're in starvation mode, they did studies on this with people, and they showed that things like your blink rate, how many times you blink, how fast you talk, your fidgeting moments, all right? When some people like tap their foot or like move themselves around or do little things, all that stuff slows down because your body goes, hey, if I'm not getting the calories that I need, I'm gonna slow everything down to make sure that this vessel can go alive. Now, a lot of the times that's happening with people who are at maybe a normal weight and they're starting to get underweight, okay? So if you have a lot of weight to lose, going on a diet and doing exercise is helpful. But again, the extreme levels and then going off of it is when you run into the problems, because again, your body's going, hey, what's going on? Now, if I lower that set point down, let's just say I'm eating way too much and I want to lose, and I lower that set point down and I continue to eat like that for the rest of my life, well, that will then continue to be your new set point. right? And especially as the weight comes off and everything starts to regulate out. But if I do it for a short period of time, your body's going, hey man, this is not what we're used to. We're gonna slow things down, and then as soon as we get that opportunity, we're gonna pack it back on again, okay? Because that's what we're used to. That's what our body has been surviving off of, okay? So again, body fat is this tool that keeps us alive. It's a miracle, all right? And we wouldn't be here without body fat. But if you don't want it on you, you want to do things like a lifestyle, make it consistent, make it so it's not so extreme so that your body can get a chance to get used to it. And let's just say you do. So let's just say, you know what, screw you, JD, I'm going to lose all the weight and I'm going to keep it off. Well, if you do decide to do an extreme program, what you want to do is reverse diet. And this will help you mitigate that metabolism shift, right? And what I mean is the shift will happen, but the rebound won't happen because you're going to slowly reverse diet, meaning you're going to slowly add little by little more calories into your diet, or you're going to slowly start tapering that exercise into something that you can do every single day for the rest of your life and make it a lifestyle. Because again, if you just do it for 8 weeks and you go back to your normal lifestyle, you've seen it, you may have done it yourself, you lose, you get results, and then you go right back to where you were. So have a plan, think about, again, the basics of physiology and your metabolism, which is how many calories does your body need to survive on a daily basis. That's called your basal metabolic rate or your resting metabolic rate. You want to know what that number is, and that number is different for everyone. So once you know that number, that's your baseline. You want to eat less than that if you're going to lose weight. If you want to stay the same weight, you eat the same amount. And if you want to gain weight, you eat more than it. When you lose weight, again, you don't want to lose more than, you don't want to be in a deficit of about 500 calories per day on your basal metabolic rate. So let's just say your metabolic rate is coming in at 2,000 calories. If you wanted to lose weight 1 pound per week, you'd want to be in a deficit of 500. Sometimes with my clients, I take them down even less, not too much. Not even that much, right? So maybe it's 200 or 300 calories just to get used to it, because some people, dieting is hard, it's challenging. Again, we want to make it a lifestyle. So taking it down, not more than 500, but maybe at 500. Again, when you start going more than 500, research has shown it starts to, again, lower these set points and start to get, again, that kind of almost starvation mode. Obviously, you might not be starving yourself, but again, it starts to send these bells and whistles off in your body saying, hey, our survival is threatened. Calories equal survival. Body fat equals survival. Next time we get that opportunity, the next time that surplus in food is there, when we do have the vacation, we got fit for the vacation, when we're on the vacation and we're gorging ourselves with food, enjoying ourselves, that's when it's going to start to say, all right, let's pack it on. Let's pack it on. Because again, it doesn't know why you're doing what you're doing. It thinks that you're either starving it or under stress, and it wants to survive. So again, think about that as you're going. I'll make more videos on the topic. But again, body fat is this miracle tool. It's an amazing survival tool. We don't like it, but it's there for a reason. Understand it, and you'll be able to get where you want to go and make yourself look the way that you want. And again, there's also genetic components to things. So there's limits to, all of this, and you want to make sure that you're setting goals that are relative to yourself. But again, maybe for another video, we'll talk about that. But genetically, historically, your body fat is a good thing. It's kept us alive for a long period of time, especially through those hard times. So take it easy on the body fat. Learn about it, understand it, hone it, and then you can master it. Until next time, I'll see you then.